Welcome to Between the Whistles, Detroit. I'm your host, Joe Chapp, and if you were just on the channel 4 hours ago, I told you that a trade was imminent between the Detroit Red Wings and the Ottawa Senators for Alex DeBrincat. Lo and behold, here we are, and the Red Wings have brought home Alex DeBrincat. He is back, he's back where he grew up in Farmington Hills, Michigan, and he's going to play for the Red Wings. I can't even believe what I'm saying right now because honestly, like you always hear that a trade is imminent, and then you're like, no, because listen, like the way Stevie Y works, like he's gonna draw us as much as he can. But when I saw the return, oh, when I saw the return, I have to tell you, what Stevie Y did in this trade was absolute robbery. It was absolute robbery. I mean, I'm pretty sure there's an arrest warrant for Stevie Y right now for what he did to the Ottawa Senators. I'm just saying. You send Dominique Kubalik a conditional first that you literally can pick. You'd be like, all right, we finish. Let's say the Red Wings make the playoffs. They go, screw it, we don't need this one. And the Bruins miss the playoffs. You want that one. You get to do that. It's a conditional first that you get to pick. You gave up a third liner who is a one-dimensional third liner in Dominique Kubalik. And then you gave up Donovan Sabrango. Now, I like Donovan Sabrango, but listen, he is not one of our higher rated defensive prospects. So we didn't give up much. All this time, I was worried about giving up like Berggren, Soderblom, Wallander. Like all the Senator fans were saying, like Rain. We weren't giving up Raymond, but you know what you're saying. I looked at that trade and I said, "Holy mother!" Like what the hell? First of all, it's very, it's very, very rare for an NHL franchise to get a top line player for a third line player, one of your probably middle of the road prospects, a conditional first, and a fourth round pick. But that's what Stevie did. And I know there's a lot of people, there's a lot of people who had an issue with Steve Yzerman a couple like this week and the week at since free agency. This whole week I've heard I just don't trust the Yzer plan. I hope you feel absolutely stupid right now. I hope that when we make the playoffs this year, you feel even more stupid. When you looked at what the Detroit Red Wings did in free agency, they signed an overabundance of players that you kind of saw what was going to go on. So let's just put it this frankly: in one off season, Yzerman adds JT Compher, one of a two-way a center that could help them on the third line, the second line. He could play winger, whatever. You add Daniel Sprong, a guy who scored 21 goals in 12 and a half minutes played. You added Shane Gothisbehere. You added Justin Hall. You added Christian Fischer for your fourth and third lines. Guys, this has been a masterclass offseason from Steve Yzerman. You have to love what he has been able to do. And earlier I said this trade was imminent because I heard that it was coming down the pike. And lo and behold, it happens. And I thought if this trade was going to go through today, I originally thought Berggren was gone. But we get to keep Berggren. This is the best of both worlds, period. We have talked about it before on the regular podcast. The Red Wings have needed a first line winger forever. And I know people have they have the high potential of Lucas Raymond. I think Lucas Raymond is going to be a really great player. He's going to be phenomenal. But he hasn't got to that point yet. And you get to add a guy who is a 40-goal scorer in his prime to align with Dylan Larkin. Holy mother of God. Look, I know a lot of people don't like Dylan Larkin. I know there's a lot of people that are detractors of Dylan Larkin. And to be honest, like there are reasons that you can feel that way. But when you look at Dylan Larkin, one of the things that he has absolutely needed his whole career has been a legitimate winger. And you just got it today. Now, what Lucas Raymond becomes, that's house money. You just basically, if Lucas Raymond, let's say he goes out for 30 goals this year, and DeBrincat goes out for 30 goals this year, who's getting those points? It's going to be Larkin. Larkin is going to be a benefactor of getting DeBrincat. You've needed a sniper for the longest of times. The Red Wings have not had a guy like DeBrincat who could put the puck in the net since what? Hossa, obviously Datsuk and Zetterberg, but that's a long time ago. It's just been a long time before you had that. And Dylan Larkin has never had that as a center for the Detroit Red Wings. So not only does this trade help the Red Wings, it helps Dylan Larkin, your captain, who is going to look much better as a player when he has Alex DeBrincat on his line. And I know people think that that Dylan Larkin is not a first line center on a Stanley Cup winning team. You don't even know that because we haven't had a team that you could say, yeah, Dylan Larkin, he can't be a first line center on a Stanley Cup winning team. You need talent. You need talent on every line. And when your first line is projectably one of the worst in the Eastern Conference, you kind of put yourself in a bad position every night when you go out. And what Stevie Y did today was he made the Red Wings better. Period. I don't want to hear about people saying that this was an over. We paid for a shorter forward, which is the stupidest thing. This guy, Alex DeBrincat, is one of 4 players in the NHL since 2007 who has 100 plus hits and he scored 40 goals. So that list includes Steven Stamkos, Alexander Ovechkin. I'm gonna pull it up right here, so it's so I could get this right, so people will be like, oh yeah. So here it is. Alex DeBrincat, guy is 25 and younger with more than 40 goals and 100 hits in a season since 2007. Alexander Ovechkin, 3 times. Steven Stamkos, once. Alex DeBrincat, once. That's the list. That's from Jim Costa, and it's a great reminder that the Detroit Red Wings got a guy who can put the effing puck in the net. We have needed a scorer for the longest of times, and you just got him. And you really didn't have to give up anything. Nothing that you basically gave up a used condom. You basically gave up a old tin of tobacco. You didn't give up much. So this was a total win by Steve Yzerman. This was a total win by the Detroit Red Wings. And I hope when we meet the Ottawa Senators this year, they can choke on this because they got robbed and Steve Yzerman absolutely held them at gunpoint. Unbelievable. Just an unbelievable trade. It will open up so many avenues for the Detroit Red Wings to get better. This is just a fantastic day. And obviously, if you're new to the channel, you can subscribe below. We will give you the best Red Wings content. We're going to have more videos coming out, but I just wanted to get this breaking news out there because this was absolutely phenomenal. Good job by Stevie Y. Good job by the Red Wings. And thank you, Ottawa, for being a bunch of dumbasses. This is Between the Whistles, Detroit. Your host, Joe Chapp, and I'm out.